This is a blog where I share my personal experience. Early 20s, the darkness continues. Even though I had sworn off self-harm, that didn't mean my mental health magically improved overnight. The dark days continued, just as heavy as before. Whenever I searched the internet, the only things that caught my eye were suspicious, shady offerings. Always curious by nature, I went chasing after all sorts of strange people and things. People who could see auras, talk to guardian spirits, channel the dead through rituals, miracle stones said to cure any illness, color therapy that supposedly healed you just by looking. I've forgotten half of it by now. But back then, all I could think was, anyone fix me. The crucial idea of me changing myself? Yeah, that hadn't even crossed my mind. After wandering through the strange and mystical, I eventually stumbled upon psychology books. At first, I didn't understand a thing. Ever the trend follower, I had bought these fancy academic textbooks, meant for college students and professionals. Looking back, I had always been the good kid who did what the adults said. Whenever things were going well, sure, I could reflect. But when trouble hit, I'd just hide or run away, my go-to coping mechanisms. This was the first time I really faced my broken self head-on. What am I feeling right now? Why do I feel this way? How do I want to live from here on out? I started asking myself those questions. One particular book, From Grief to Memory, helped me do exactly that. Turn grief into a memory, and begin healing. The trigger had undeniably been my mother's death. And the feelings I carried were sadness and anger. Learning how to process those became my biggest challenge. Why was I so sad? Where were this grief and rage really coming from? Somewhere deep down, I was convinced. Maybe she died because of me. So I broke it all down. Piece by piece, I examined the roots of my emotions. What story am I telling myself that's making me feel this way? It was like whipping my own soul. Recalling painful memories, overthinking everything. But in the end, strangely enough, I found myself forgiving my mother, the man involved, even myself. Anger is so exhausting. Hating someone, being angry all the time, it drains every bit of energy you have. And the person I was angry with? Gone. Dead. No wonder I'd been trapped in a never-ending loop. The past is the past. What's done is done. I'm going to live as who I am now. When that thought finally settled in my heart, something lifted. That was the moment I escaped the darkest depths of my depression. But healing trauma isn't some instant fix. Even now, there are days I fall into sadness, days my heart aches. Still, I've gotten to the point where I can at least ask, where can I find balance today? Then came the next big question. How do I want to live from here on out? Looking back on my school days. In elementary school, I was the special kid who skipped all the tough stuff. I quit the one thing that gave me hope, gymnastics. In middle school, I partied non-stop and barely went to class. What I called life experience was really just a pile of dark memories. I mocked and looked down on kids who took life seriously, without any real reason. But they quietly kept moving forward. I used to say, why would anyone go to boring school? That's insane. But clearly, I was the insane one. When I realized it, I nearly threw up. Doing ordinary things in an ordinary way. That's incredibly impressive. Everyone else seems so grown up, so respectable. And I finally asked myself, what the hell have I been doing all this time? But even with all that, I don't regret my life. I have some funny memories. I've had experiences most people never do. And I met people who truly mattered. Totally satisfied, totally lying. But yeah, it's true, my future options shrank a lot. So I joked to myself, I'll go to school properly in my next life. And I started searching for things I could do with the skills I had now. Sure, going back to school was an option. But I knew myself I didn't have the stamina for it. I'm what you'd call a total mess of a human being. Make a living with one talent? Master a specialty? Or maybe follow my mom's infamous advice. Just catch yourself a rich man. My mom's older sister, my aunt, used to check in on us often. Every time, she'd tell me, don't sell yourself. It's fine to be an owner, but you can't stay a player forever. Once it's over, there's no backup plan. Do something, anything that doesn't rely on your looks. My mom used her looks like a weapon. Sure, she was beautiful. Never had trouble with men. But from a child's perspective, it wasn't something to admire. She tried day jobs once or twice, but always returned to the nightlife. As she aged, she spent ridiculous amounts on plastic surgery. Eventually, she fell for a worthless man and died. If she'd been smarter, maybe she could have used her knowledge to run her own business. Taken a different path. I'm not criticizing nightlife work. This is just my mother's story. And yes, I, too, worked in that world. Around that time, I thought, I'll at least try a part-time job. So I started working at a nearby fast food joint. Then I bought a car. The job was fun, and the people were great. When I bought the car, 2 store-affiliated credit cards showed up in the mail. I wasn't making enough to help with household finances. My siblings were still repaying our mother's debts. Money was tight, and that's when I got a really dumb idea. Swipe the card at the ATM, and cash comes out like magic. I started borrowing. No one questioned where my sudden wealth came. Frommy past didn't exactly scream responsible adult. I lied to my siblings about where the money came from and handed some over. But money is strange, it vanishes fast. 100,000 yen? Gone in no time. Then one day, I got into a hit-and-run accident. I received a little over 1 million yen in settlement money. I used it to pay off some of the debt. And guess what? The card limit jumped to 3 million yen. You can probably guess the rest. I had built myself a personal hell, brick by brick. Well, when you're in trouble, it's normal to help each other out, right? That's the lie I told myself. I couldn't tell my siblings, or my friends, or my boyfriend. I was panicking alone. Years later, I finally confided in a friend. She said, I went to a lawyer and got it all taken care of. So I worked up the courage to visit a lawyer too. But they scolded me, you have to think more seriously. That broke me. I walked out. And for years after, I carried that secret alone. I couldn't think things through before acting. I had no sense of planning. All of it true. I had given up on myself.